Trustee 8. Microphone check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8. Okay. So, do a quick screen check here. And then we'll begin. This should be a weird stream. Hello. Howdy, whenever you are. Past, present, future, and all that good stuff. We're using old thumbnails. It's fun. Howdy, whenever you are. Alright, looks like we're good. So, a couple of things we'll address right off the bat here. It's been a weird week. I actually had planned to do this stream several days ago. I left here last Sunday morning on the way to go practice with my band. And one of the band members was supposed to pick me up from the bus stop. He never showed up. Long story short, we all got together. We went over to his place. And when we arrived there, the paramedics were just leaving. And it just pronounced him dead. That's my friend Loki, pictured on the bottom right of the screen. You see that. Loki was the bass player, guitar player, and vocalist for Calicide, one of my bands, a friend of mine for 19 years. And so he passed away last weekend, unfortunately. Going to do some memorial stuff and all of that, but a bit of a shocker. And in other news, life has just been progressing rapidly. Just a lot of things happening for me right now. Maybe we'll touch back on that later. Additionally, the comment top right from JG in response to Darth Dawkins Debunked the Website, a comment I made there, probably address that later. Not super important, but I thought I should touch back on it. I didn't have a chance to respond to that with all the things going on. But right now, I wanted to look at this because it was in the bag to be looked at. It's not something I would normally show, but I saved this video from the David Pakman show, who will watch some regularities, and he was commenting on some things I thought kind of mirrored a lot of my own thoughts on certain things and videos I've seen in the not too distant past being reviewed, especially this Jubilee platform, this 1 versus 20 platform. And the title of this video is the Memification of Debate Killing Us? From David Pakman once again. So we'll watch a little bit of this video, not too much, and then we will actually go and look at the Jubilee debate.
Wish you had a professional business address and phone number instead of your
have some interest in watching.
home address and personal number? Are you looking to register your business using an address other than your home?
Talk about the latest. Many of you have written to me and have said, David, you've got to talk about the latest Jubilee Surrounded episode where Mehdi Hassan crushed 20 fascists. And I know that this didn't happen yesterday, right? It's been, I guess, 10 or 14 days since it to say about it. Because I think that there's a much bigger story here about these sort of the memification of debate. And so let's see if we can kind of parse out where.
I like that he uses that terminology and the way he's using it here. And it's kind of like the call-in shows that that I've been exposed to that kind of introduced me to this platform as a whole, and kind of got my feet in the water, like, so to speak, was things like the Atheist Experience and stuff like that, where people are calling in, right, to try to genuinely defend a position, like a belief that they hold, and they're effectively debating against, the caller is debating against the host of the show, in these instances. And people kind of lose sight of the fact that it's not like people are entertained by it, but it's not for entertainment purposes. It's kind of like professional wrestling in that sense, because it's facilitated in such a way that the outcome, there is no winner or loser in like the true sense. It's a matter of popular opinion. In this case, like who has the favorable outcome, and because of that, you're subject to a fallacy in like any of these situations where one person, defending their ideas against scrutiny from another person, but not necessarily actually changing their minds in the context of conversation, because they are there solely for the purpose of defending that position. They have no interest in actually having their mind changed. They're not open or receptive to that, right? And nor should they be. In this context, you should be fully prepared to defend that, that position that you hold in an intellectual sphere. But there's the question of, hey, Daniel Berry Sports Highlights. It looks like your comment, I saw your comment. It's good to see you. Happy Sunday. But I was trying not to lose that thought. Just that, an intellectual battle, it's not like an actual physical confrontation where there is a clear victor, right? It's subject to interpretation. Like the person who is being intellectually defeated may not even know that they've been intellectually defeated. Skeptic philosophy. What's up? Good to see you. Good to see you. All right, watch a few more seconds of this and then go on down the list.
Where I am on this. There was a point where politics really was about ideas with real substantive debates. You don't have people trying to. And there's a way in which this entire space has now become a game.
Pretending to. I think that's the key word. Yeah. We're pretending to try to understand one another rather than actually achieving understanding, which is obviously problematic for a number of reasons, right? And I think it shows the intention, it shows the objective of these people who come in to defend certain positions. And I'll try to be non-specific in this case because it kind of goes into the content of the video, right? The people who defend certain positions, which I, and certain other people might call indefensible positions, on the basis of having some supposed moral high ground, right? And yet they make no attempt to actually understand the moral position of their interlocutor. So you're stuck at impasse from the beginning. And the problem, I think, here is that these arguments, right, although it's memeified in this YouTube sphere and maybe even, to a large extent in the political arena, it has a very real impact on people's lives, especially marginalized people. When you're talking about people's rights, how people should be treated, how we ought to treat one another. And when people disregard those marginalized groups in the greater social setting, and this becomes normalized and rationalized and justified, we come to a point of where I hear this said a lot. Are we tolerating intolerance? Do these people have a right to, not just hold opinions, but espouse them on public platforms to where they might be heard by like wider audiences? And if we know and they are demonstrated to be false, or we know and they are demonstrated to be, fallacious in some way, say, oh, you're entitled to your opinion, but what reach should we allow you to have, right? If this is just a game to you, but it has a real, an impact on people's day-to-day lives, then it's no longer a game, right? You are toying with reality, I think. Christian Carpenter, good to see you. Like I said, this is kind of a weird show, weird topic, but I wanted to go there with it because it, people might say this is a First Amendment issue of the right to freedom of speech, and then you might say this goes into like topics like hate speech and defamation and things like that. So it's very complex, and I think people try to oversimplify it. I apologize for my voice. I woke up this morning and I had some swelling in my throat. It was actually pretty severe. It was a little scary. So I'm over it now, but my throat is still sore. So
internet blood sports, and it's really built for clicks, not for clarity and progress. And nobody plays this game better than Jubilee, and specifically Jubilee's Surrounded. So if you haven't seen it, the formula is like this. You take one person with some strong opinions or with a history of engaging in with them, you hit record, and it's designed to be chaotic and explosive. And
this is kind of akin to like the call-in show platform. If you think about it, like they make it a face-to-face debate where you're actually, it's structured in such a way, and people can vote you off the stage, right? But it is like a hang-up, call-in show type of style, but they've just kind of put it in this in-person format that makes it really interesting and engaging. And it's true. It is. When you look at it, you're like, whoa, that's kind of crazy. But it is not dissimilar from what we see online with some of the secular call-in shows and stuff like that. So I think that's important to keep in mind. Hey, Captive Desk, good to see you, buddy. All right. I think we can okay, I'll let him go a few more seconds. I don't want to go through too much of this video, but yeah, maybe another.
The point really isn't to find common ground. Jubilee actually has a different show which is about that. I think it's called Middle Ground, in fact. But the point is something explode. And so you can say it's about a conversation, but it's not. If you watch the show, you see that it's about outrage. It's about generating a kind of conflict and drama that gets clipped and it goes viral and it floods your feed. Which,
yeah. So in this sense, yes, it is content that is curated to get a lot of clicks, a lot of views, a lot of reactions, right? But why is that? Why does it get those reactions? And if not because, these topics, it's not like they don't choose people out of the blue who have innocuous views, right? They choose some of the most extreme people and some of the most prominent people out there, and pair those people together so as to create that explosive conversation. It's going to get a lot of clicks. Now, I've seen a number of reviews on this, so bear with me here. I know many people have reviewed this, and we'll speed it up a little bit.
Can I ask if you...
So I never heard of this guy, like Mehdi Hassan, before this interview. Apparently he's pretty popular, but I don't recall ever hearing him before.
Questions?
Yeah, sure.
Do you have any pets?
Yes, we have a dog, but she's little.
Do you...
What was happening before the 50?
Okay, let's go back. I started watching a bit of this just to kind of get some context, because I've only seen clips of other people reviewing this before, obviously, I actually started watching it. So,
Criminals, when you let criminals out of prison, when you pardon people who've assaulted police officers, you're pro people who were involved in January the 6th. I think 600 of them had been charged with assaulting a police officer or obstructing a police officer. 170 had pled guilty to assaulting a police officer. 70 had pled guilty to...
Somebody else mentioned it, and so I'll mention it as well. It's cool because they do a fact checker in real time during the debate, or whenever they actually post the debate. So the fact check says of those, 598 were charged with assaulting, resisting, or impeding law enforcement, and 171 were charged with using a deadly or dangerous weapon against an officer. So it's basically correct.
Assault with a deadly weapon. J.D. Vance said, we're not going to pardon the violent criminals from January 6th. Donald Trump pardoned all of them. Are you okay with that?
I would say January 6th is a very special case. I would say it's almost a climax point in history. I would just phrase the question this way. Right now in the LA protests, if they were to, just for example, they were to rush the capital of LA, I mean, they'd have to move over all the homeless people living in tents on the steps of the Capitol. But if they were managed to get into the Capitol and they were just protesting, peacefully, let's say police officers.
That might be a straw man. That might be fallacious. I don't believe there are homeless people living on the steps of the Los Angeles Capitol building, but I'm not sure about that.
Rushing them in. They were letting them in and saying, hey, you guys can go in, like we have many testimonies that say.
What about the violent ones, though?
Okay, violent ones like
Like a man named David Dempsey, a judge, a Reagan-appointed judge, sentenced him to 20 years in prison. He stomped on police officers' heads. The judge said his conduct was exceptionally egregious. He attacked police officers with flagpoles and pepper spray. Donald Trump pardoned him. There's a man named Daniel Rodriguez. He got 12 years in prison. The judge said he was a one-man army of hate. Donald Trump pardoned him. Does that not make Trump pro-criminal? He's letting violent criminals out of prison.
I would say no, it doesn't make him pro-criminal.
You're okay with that?
I did not say that. I said that one pardon against somebody.
It was 1,600 pardons. 600 of those were people charged
one
with...
example that you just gave me.
I can give you more. Just keep going.
Fine.
Shane
And I'll say the
Jenkins.
exact same thing every single time.
Then your argument will fall apart because it's not just one example if I keep going.
Go for it then.
Okay, Shane Jenkins got 7 years in prison for 9 criminal offenses, attacking police with a deadly weapon, destroying government property.
So I think as a generalization, like Mehdi's argument doesn't stand. Like in this case, actually, it's not a good argument. He makes a good point, but the general argument that he is pro-criminal and pro-crime doesn't stand. He is pro-criminal and pro-crime when it suits him, right? Selectively. So that is true in a certain context, but not all the time. So this claim, right, while it has some truth value, is not entirely true on its face. You have to be more specific, right? But the point of this, right, is not actually to get into the nuance of this. Well, I mean, obviously there is some nuance, but I don't think it's like appropriately presented to where the audience, if they're seeing this and they say, okay, if this claim is just Donald Trump is pro-crime and pro-criminal, well, that doesn't stand up, right? But he is pro-crime and pro-criminal when it suits his agenda, as in the case of January 6th. So this is true in this case specifically. And if we were to say that, then he's entirely correct. There's no argument against it.
How do pardons that probably shouldn't have happened turn into pro-crime?
So you've agreed that they shouldn't have been pardoned?
Sure, but that wasn't your claim, was January 6th. Your claim was Trump is pro-crime.
So he, once again, this guy is a far-right conservative Trump supporter, presumably, and saying, well, yeah, no, he shouldn't have done that. But again, to the point, as a blanket statement, it doesn't work. You can't use it in a real debate. Skeptic Philosophy says, I think this is kind of the point. He is pro-crime if it is favor. Yeah, exactly.
Yes, because he pardons criminals.
Okay, I would say that's a fault.
Let's talk about non-January 6 people.
Okay.
He's pardoned people like Paul Walchuk recently, who took millions of dollars from his own employees, was sentenced to tax crimes, had to pay back $4 million. Trump pardoned him. He bought himself a $2 million yacht. Why is he pardoning criminals like that?
Well, I don't know. I don't think you should. I don't think really presidential pardon should be a thing at all. But I
agree.
I don't think.
They think they are stronger. Like, let's just call it like it is. Like all these people are waiting to debate. So they're gonna raise their flag when they think this guy's weak. That's how this works.
Voted out by the majority. Please return to your seat.
Thanks.
How's it going?
Hey, how's it going? Mehdi.
What is it?
Mehdi.
You're from northern UK, I guess?
I'm from London, North London.
Okay, fair enough. What's your ethnic background, if you don't mind asking?
My parents are from India.
Okay, perfect. Just getting premise here. First of all, I want to say
The premise of what? Yeah. Just permitting racial bias right off the bat. Like, oh, well, you might be, an Englishman from... So this guy, I love this guy. Let's just keep going with this.
Stop being pro-crime.
No. I want to concern myself with why you care about what's happening in the U.S., first and foremost. Secondly, I want to say this.
Should people
in the U.S.
Let's not interrupt each other. Because I have this thing, like people know I have this thing. I have to stay calm, okay? So here's the thing. I am happy that he released...
That's like, I'm warning you. you don't want to see me angry type bullshit right there.
J6. In fact, so much so that I was prepared to protest if he didn't.
Okay.
So when you say, are you okay that he's pro-crime? Sure, because you know what? We're changing the definition of what crime is, first and
You
foremost.
don't think stomping on police officers' heads is a crime?
I don't think it's no longer
We're
real.
changing the definition of what crime is. This man should have been back at the whole you wouldn't like me when I'm angry thing. He should have been gone. And yet he's continuing to, this is not serious.
Conversation anymore. You're
Really?
arguing. No, it's not, because you know what? Okay, have you seen the U.S. in the last 4 or 5 years?
Yes, I've
BLM
lived
protests.
here
Have
for a
you
while.
seen? Okay, I myself have been involved in these protests. I've seen egregious things that you couldn't even imagine.
So we
being
have no
done to
rules then?
conservatives. It's not about that. It's about tribal warfare. That's where we're at in the U.S. I don't know where you're at in the U.K. You're from India, so I don't really.
I'm not from India.
Tribal warfare. He just breaks us down to simple tribal warfare. It is us versus them. Who are they? I don't know. Maybe whoever the conservative base says they are.
Oh, sorry, your parents are from India, so
I'm an American
you have
citizen.
your own states.
I'm an American, you know.
You're an American citizen? Okay,
Yes.
fair enough. I don't know how
Yes.
you got that, but fair enough. Here's the thing.
Are you an American citizen?
Absolutely.
Fair enough. I don't know how you got that. A legal American citizen. A legal American citizen. He's like, well, I don't know how you got to be a citizen here, through the fucking immigration process. Or are you? Do you understand? Like,
But here's the
I'm
Oh,
sure how you
no.
got that.
Born here.
Okay.
Born here, and my family lineage is settlers from the 1500s, so I have some stake in the
Okay.
claim here, okay?
But you're
a little different
But you're a
than yours.
descendant of immigrants. Settlers.
I didn't know.
Colonialists.
Yeah,
You don't look,
colonials,
you don't
yeah.
look very Native American to me.
I am Native American. Whites
not.
are Native Americans. What are
Sorry,
you talking about?
You're not.
Whites are Native Americans and gets an applause from the crowd. That's fucking amazing. This is like next level ignorance here. Willful ignorance, right? Because you know what we're talking about and yet refuse to concede this particular point, right? Once again, it's not just intellectually dishonest, right? You're intellectually hijacking people, right? With a particular bias and taking that bias to this extreme that says that if you disagree with me, right, you're not wrong necessarily, right? But you are in direct opposition to me, right? It's not about right and wrong because they presume a certain context. It says, well, if we're here, you're not going to take this from us. So the presumption there is that somebody is trying to take something away from you, right? In this case, your heritage, your claim to a particular piece of land or something like that. But what is actually being taken from you? If you were to make this concession in the setting of a conversation, to say, oh wait, no, whites are not what we typically call Native American people. That's not what we mean by that. They're so locked into this position. So locked. I don't want to say, I don't know if there's a good word for what I'm trying to articulate here, right? It's not brainwashing. I mean, it's definitely self-reinforcing. But there is some type of indoctrination that goes on, right? You have to be indoctrinated to some capacity in order to hold steadfastly to a position like this. I guess that's what I'm getting at.
Talking about
Well,
whites are Native Americans.
Really?
I think
What was
you're-
happening before the 1500s?
I think you're getting confused with it.
I don't mind going on a tangent, but what was happening before the 1500s?
Calm down. I think you're getting.
What was happening before the 1500s?
There was indigenous people here that
Yeah.
came here
Do
from
you know what
Asia.
indigenous means?
Listen, before
Indigenous
America,
people
Let-
can't
you
come
let
from
me
somewhere
finish.
else.
Indigenous people that came here from Asia is, I think, one pretty well accepted theory, like migratory theory, in like ancestral, ancient history, right? But there's certain things, but there was like the land bridge, which was actually like Scandinavian peoples, and Asians as well, or the ice bridge rather. So there is some evidence potentially for migratory peoples. But then there's also like Pangea. So not all of that is like well known. Like it's what do you call that? It's incomplete, but anyway.
Why do you ask a question if you're going to interrupt?
I'm not sure if you know what the meaning of indigenous means.
I do know what it means. It
Doesn't
means
sound
they
like it.
came here first, right? They came here from Asia by way of land bridge. Have an argument with Neil deGrasse
Indigenous means they came here first. So you're twisting words right there.
Tyson or anybody else about that. I don't care.
Is he an
I
American?
genuinely don't care. Yes, he is.
Okay, just checking.
Derailing, dude. I'm trying
You
to stay
literally
on
sat
track.
down and asked me where I'm from. I think you derailed this
you got
conversation from the
offended
get-go.
by that, but I'm because
not
I'm always
offended. I'm
curious.
just wondering what it
because
has to do with
I'm
crime.
always curious.
We're going to talk about
why-
immigration. Don't worry. Later on, you can come back.
I hope so.
Right now, you're doing a very bad job of making the case that he's not pro-crime.
I just
and
got a
pro-criminal.
round of applause. I could probably get another one actually if I asked for it.
Wow.
So I don't think I'm.
By 19 other people presumably who already agreed with you to begin with. Not so impressive.
How
It's
you
bad.
get rounds of applause? You sit in a room with 20 people who agree with you. Wow, amazing. Amazing. That
Well,
must
wait
make you
till
feel
this comes
good.
out. You know what? I'm
20
actually
people
glad
agree
you're
with
getting
you,
this
applauded you.
emotionally outraged right
Wow.
now. This is great.
I love it.
Do I have to say anything at this point, or are you just going to
Please.
keep going?
No, please.
Okay.
Make your claim.
All right, so I want
Some
to
nihil-
get
Gloves are
through
off.
this guy, honestly. Move on to the next one.
Hey, I just created a free training for how to start, run, and grow any local service-based business.
Gloves are off, right? I don't agree with your definition that the police have the authority that they're given. Okay, that's how far to the right.
All right, so not impressed by that guy. Maybe that's just me. And I want to move in here. So he's still on the same claim. Maybe here. All right.
Hello, sir. How are you?
Hey, so I'm going to be as respectful about this as possible, but the truth is your claim is completely bad faith. You do not care about being anti-crime. You yourself are pro-crime. Your side is pro-crime because you're a progressive.
How am I pro-crime?
So I'll give you an example, right? So your side, not Donald Trump, has passed a series of laws in California. Let's go with California. It's where we are right now. It's where I'm from. I don't know. Are you from California?
No.
Or okay. So in California, for example,
I love that. He's like, I'm just going to assume you're from California. He's like, no, actually, no. Well, I'm still going to use California as my example. And also, so last night I watched an interview between Jesse Lee Peterson and David Pakman. And again, interesting commentary and response from David here on this issue of, so they're being very careful, apparently calling Mehdi here a progressive. And David was saying in that interview, when Jesse asked him if he was progressive, he said, well, in this context, it's hard to answer because I'm going to assume that you identify progressive values, progressive politics with certain things that I might not necessarily endorse, right? So I'd rather get into the specifics of what I am for and not, right? So anytime these words are used, and it's true on both sides, but it's used, I think more liberally used by the conservative sides to try to use this as an attack mode to say, oh, if you are a liberal, if you are progressive, then you believe X, right? And pigeonholing you into that. So automatically, it's bad faith, in my opinion, and when they do this. If it's presumed, okay, you're right, I'm left, all right, we kind of know the stakes there, right? But when you start using these specific terms, like what is a liberal, what is a progressive, what is a conservative, fundamentalist Christian, like you start getting into the specifics and the weeds of that, there's a lot more nuance to what people believe. And so when we try to kind of make these generalizations about people, especially in the format of a debate, you are avoiding asking a direct question to try to identify them with something they may or may not believe based on what you think somebody who identifies that would believe.
state legislature, completely progressive, just passed a law that limits sex offender registration to 10 years. It was life before. That's pro-crime. The legislature in California, which is progressives again, has passed a law that says the voter-induced three-strike law is no longer absolute. If someone attempt murders someone, stabs someone on 3 separate occasions, a judge now does not have to give them life. That's a progressive law. That is not. That is pro-crime. You support that, don't you?
I actually don't support sex offenders coming off a list. I think they should be on for life.
Okay, so you disagree with progressives.
So hold on. You and I both agree that sex offending is a bad thing, especially child sex offending, right?
It seems like you and I agree on that.
I
The
agree on
legislature
that.
of California doesn't.
So I'm not here to debate the legislature of California. I'm here to debate
You're
Donald
progressive.
Trump being pro-crime.
But
And
you're
I'm saying that Donald Trump was friends with Ghislaine Maxwell. When Ghislaine Maxwell, who's the worst child sex trafficker of our lifetime, she's serving over 20 years. Do you know Ghislaine Maxwell?
Yeah, she's actually not. Jeffrey Epstein's the worst sex
He's
trafficker.
dead. I'm talking about people alive right now.
It's interesting though you didn't use his name, right?
Released the Epstein files, right? And he actually just walked right into this one. So let's see how this goes.
Oh, great. I'm glad you brought up Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein, before he died, did an interview with Michael Wolff. He's on tape. I don't know if you've heard the tape. He says, my closest friend was Donald Trump. I was his closest friend. Elon Musk, I'm not sure if you've heard of him. He tweeted recently that Donald Trump's name is in the Epstein files. And Ghislaine Maxwell, who was the right-hand woman of Jeffrey Epstein, when she was on trial for child sex offending, which you and I are opposed to, Donald Trump stood up and said, good luck to her. I wish her well. So yeah, that makes him pro-crime and pro-criminal if he's being soft on child sex
Well, you
traffickers
just said they
like
were his
Epstein.
friends. He's
No, I'm
clearly
saying he was
something.
friends. He was friends with Epstein. You haven't seen the videos? They danced together, partied together.
It's
Epstein said I was his
a guy he
closest
knows.
friend.
He's not supported the pedophilia part. The only people
Actually,
supporting
that's
pedophilia
not
are the
true.
left.
Trump gave a speech about 20 years ago where he said Epstein's a great guy. He loves young women. A lot of them are very young. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink, laugh, laugh. So yeah, I think he's pro-crime and pro-criminal.
So you
And I
think
think
he's
he's
pro-crime
soft
for
on
having a
sex
friend who's
offenders.
Do you have any friends who are criminals?
Not that I know of. Certainly not child sex offenders. No, do you?
If it came, no, of course not.
Okay, so we're both in agreement again.
If
So why
it
are you
came out
defending
tomorrow
Donald
that
Trump?
if it came out tomorrow that one of your friends was a child sex
You know
trafficker,
what I'd do?
you'd stop being friends with him.
Yes.
Yeah,
And I
but-
wouldn't say-
And then I'd go on TV and I would say, "Oh, look, Mr. Hassan was friends with this guy 10 years ago. Therefore, he's
What if
pro-child
Mr.
sex
Hassan
trafficking."
said, I wish them well when they're on trial? Wouldn't you ever go at me for
You
that?
wish your
Wouldn't
friend
you
well
ma-
on trial?
Yeah, child sex trafficker. Would you be mad?
I wouldn't wish someone well, but that's
But Donald
your
Trump
gotcha.
did.
That's your gotcha.
It's a pretty
Is it
big
he
gotcha.
said He wished
Yeah,
a friend
pretty
well.
big gotcha.
Okay,
He
but
praised
see,
the- he
what
praised
you're
the
really
woman
trying
for
to do
child
right now is you're
What
trying to
about
get
the
back
fact
to
that
Donald Trump on a personal level. Let's talk
says his
policy.
name?
What's his policy?
You want to talk policies?
Yes.
So when he left office in 2020, he left behind the highest murder rate for over 100 years.
He left
Between
behind
20
the highest murder.
Yes.
That is the most bad faith claim you
No,
could
no,
possibly
it's a
make.
fact from the
No,
CDC
and you know what?
data.
Here's why it's bad faith.
Can I finish the sentence and then you can come back in?
You're just lying to people. Donald
I'm
Trump.
lying? Can I finish the sentence?
Donald Trump does not cause the
Can I-
murder rates.
can I-
Murder is a state
Oh,
level
that's
crime.
hilarious.
Gavin
Conservatives
Newsom is
spend-
more responsible for the murder rate than Donald Trump is.
That's hilarious. So Donald Trump's not responsible for murder rate, but other politicians who are Democrats
Yes,
are.
because it's a
Everyone
state
can see
level
your
law.
partisanship.
That's like saying no. I'll say Republicans are too.
Let's-
State governors who are soft on crime are the ones that are
Let me
responsible
finish the
for murder
sentence.
rates.
When Donald Trump left office in 2020, between 2019 and 2020, according to data from the CDC, from the FBI, from Pew Research, the 30% increase in the murder rate between 2019 and 2020. It was the single biggest jump in the murder rate since 1905.
And who's
So
doing
he's
who's doing
pro-crime
the murdering?
and
Aren't they
pro-criminal.
responsible? Who's doing the murdering?
The murderers.
So aren't they responsible
But why
for the
did it
murder
go up
rate?
on his watch?
What?
Why did it go up on his watch?
Gee,
He's
that's
very
a real
bad.
hard. That's
He's
a
very
real
bad
hard.
at fighting crime.
That's a
for
real hard one to
Republicans.
figure out, right? We shut down the whole economy during COVID. We told everyone they couldn't go out unless it was to violently protest. We told people that if a cop tries to arrest you, that cop's probably going to get charged with murder.
No, I think the pandemic had a lot to do with it.
Right,
The
so
pandemic
did he
didn't
cause
finish
that?
in 2020.
What?
The pandemic didn't finish in
No, but
2020.
you
And yet
asked why
all-
the murder rate
and
went
yet
up.
we're
The
going to
murder
play the
rate
what
went up
about game.
because of
You
all
guys
these
blame Joe
factors.
Biden for crime for years.
But Joe
For
Biden
years.
actively induces policies that are pro-crime. I'm asking
So
you
does
for
Donald
example,
Trump. Okay.
Name the policy
I'll
that's
name one right
pro-crime.
now. I'll name
Please.
one
I've
right
asked
now.
you for like 10 minutes.
I'll name
Please
one
do
right
that.
now. No, you haven't actually. You talked
What,
about California legislatures. He pardoned violent criminals who
not-
then went
that's
on
not a
to
policy.
commit
He
other
did-
crimes. You don't think releasing violent crimes into
And pardon's a
community?
one-time thing. What's his policy
Do you know-
he has pushed? Name a law he
Hold
has
on,
signed.
a pardon
What
is a
law has he
one-time
signed?
thing. Is a policy is not one-time
That's
thing.
like Jimmy Carter pardoned the
You
draft. No,
guys
listen.
may want to dodge January 6th, the pardons.
I'm not judging that.
Then
Jimmy
deal with
Carter-
it. Did you
okay,
agree with
I'm
them?
gonna right
Do you
now.
agree with
Jimmy
them?
Carter
Do you
pardoned
agree with
draft
the pardons?
dodgers. Does that mean his
I don't-
policy was
I don't
no one
support
has to-
Jimmy Carter. Do you
Okay.
support?
So yeah, he's leaning on this singular claim, this single instance, and I don't think it's necessarily good for this argument. I think he could have come in quick probably with other things. Things like Trump's tax evasion, and I know that people see that as kind of sticking it to the IRS, and the fact that he's made all these cuts within the government that they see as like reducing bureaucracy, which actually reduce oversight, right? Which leans toward like endorsing or incentivizing people to do more like blue collar crime and stuff like that, right? So there's that element as well. So the fact that they're focusing like specifically on violent criminality, I think, is misleading, or not covering the whole picture.
Do you support the pardoning of people who went on to be prosecuted for sexually abusing a 7-year-old child, illegal gun possession, reckless homicide?
Now, see,
These are people
there's
who
more
were
bad
released,
faith.
these are
There's
people
more
who were
bad
released
faith.
from
He
prison.
didn't pardon someone for sexually abusing a
Yeah, but
child.
they went
He
on to be
pardoned
convicted
someone
of it.
for
So
rebelling
that's-
against the government that they believed
No,
had
they-
rigged elections. That's what he pardoned them for. He didn't pardon them for sexual child abuse.
But they were criminals who committed those crimes. He let them out. So that means
Now,
the crime rate goes up.
so you say they're criminals because
And here's the question: why did they believe they had rigged elections? Well, because he told them that they had rigged elections. He was the in this case, he created the narrative under which these people committed violent acts, and then said, "Okay, well, we can justify that because I created the whole narrative." Right? That was part of my plan.
they did the crime, right?
Yeah.
Would you extend that to illegal immigrants that they're all criminals?
So, and it's like part of the whole thing. Did he incite the violence? Did he incite those actions? I would say he did.
Because they committed a crime. I have a
No,
feeling your
the
position
Supreme
is going
Court.
to change.
Supreme Court. We're going to talk about immigration.
Someone who's illegally entered the United States, not a criminal, but
Not
somebody who
according to the
illegally
Supreme
entered the
Court.
capital
Not
is.
according to the Supreme Court of the United
The
States.
Supreme Court has said that anyone who enters the United States
The
illegally
Supreme
is not a
Court,
criminal.
and we can
What's the case
jump to
site? Can I get the
future
case
claims.
site? Can I get the
We
case
can
site?
jump to 20. You want to get the case?
The case site, please. You said the Supreme Court
The
said-
citation of the case.
Yes, that entering
It's
the United
called-
States illegally is not a crime.
It's called Arizona versus United States 2012. Go look it up.
Pause. You've been voted out by the majority. Please return to your seat.
See what this
Hey,
guy's
how's it going?
got.
Nice to meet you, Mehdi.
Nice to meet you. Thank you for coming. I appreciate you. I really just more want to get an understanding. When you say pro-criminal, what do you mean?
I mean that when confronted with people who've committed criminal acts, Donald Trump has been either soft on them, friendly with them, pardoned them, and of course, let's not forget, I mean, we've got 5 minutes left, I'm surprised it hasn't come up earlier. He's a convicted criminal himself sitting in the White House.
Okay, I want to make
34
sure I
felony
understand
offenses.
you correctly because
Yes.
I don't want to strawman you.
No,
You're saying
I appreciate that.
every time that he's been confronted.
Not every time. I didn't
Most
say the
times.
words every time.
Most times.
A lot of the time.
A lot of the times.
Yes.
He's leaned towards criminal activity.
I didn't say criminal activity. He has committed crimes.
Endorsed criminal.
He's been indicted for 88 different criminal offenses in 4 different jurisdictions by 5 different grand juries. He was convicted himself on 34 different criminal offenses by a jury of his peers. Okay. But let's park that for a moment.
Okay.
Separate to his own crimes, when confronted with the crimes of others, or the alleged crimes of others, for example, a Chinese crypto billionaire called Justin Sun, who was being investigated for market manipulation, Trump dropped the case, invited him to the golf course,
Right, I get
invited
it.
him to the White House,
Plenty of examples.
and the guy
plenty of
invested
examples.
$70 million in Trump's
Okay,
cryptocurrency.
so what I want to ask you
That's
this.
pro-crime in my
so
view.
is it possible, because remember, the burden of proof's on you, right? You have to prove. Is it possible that all these things that he's done that supposedly make him pro-crime?
Yeah.
So his interlocutor is right. If he's making the claim, the burden of proof is on him. So, I mean, this is true. And, I think now he's giving more examples, laying the bedrock. I think leaning on just January 6th pardons in particular was not the best route to go. I think he could have probably put more into that, but but it's challenging. It's got to be challenging. Like, you have 15 minutes to debate this topic, and the people are coming up to you. They're all coming with a different perspective and a different argument. You kind of have to hold the line there and make it a positive claim. It's difficult. I'm not gonna say it's not. So all right.
There's another reason for the doing it. There's other just.
Check the what's going on over here. Okay, no comments right now. Let's see. Thank you, everybody who's watching, past, present, future. Appreciate you hitting the like button, and yeah.
For example,
no,
let me give an example, and then you can rebut it. The J6.
Yes.
Is it possible that he could have done this to unite the country, to move past, to go to a new chapter? If it's even possible, I think you would have to admit that there's another possibility. Therefore, he's not pro-crime, at least in possibility.
So his argument here is that this is a means to an end. So if he is permitting these activities just as a means to progress to some other outcome, right? So this is bettering the country, but we are allowing, there's like caveats here, like some exceptions to what we would normally call acceptable behavior.
Disagree.
Yep, okay.
So I agree with you that the intent could be different. I don't think Donald Trump was sitting there saying, how can I increase the level of murders? Let me release some murderers.
Right.
I'm not saying he did that on January 6th. I don't think he was trying to unite the country. That's where we disagree. That's bullshit. In fact, he divided the country further. But intent doesn't really matter to my claim. If he's releasing violent criminals,
Wait.
it
Intent doesn't matter?
No, he's pro-crime and pro-criminal.
No, but that's a big indictment to say pro-crime. That means
If I'm
he's
confronted,
for crime.
I'm confronted. Well, he is, because I gave an example.
No. It could
Can I
be
finish?
possible.
I didn't
Okay, sorry,
interrupt you.
forgive me.
Your friend earlier, your ally, said, where has he done stuff that's increased the crime? I'm telling you, people have been pardoned who have been convicted on multiple other crimes. These people who we pardoned had...
I like that he called that guy his friend. That's a little bit of a, but It was funny. It's funny.
Previous criminal records. They were not just some folks chilling around going, we're against the takeover of our country, we're opposed to rebellion. They were, a lot of these people were already hardened criminals, militia members. He looked at those people and said, you know what? They've been convicted, in many cases, by Republican judges, but I'm going to let them out. Yeah, that makes
can I
you
ask you a question?
pro-criminal.
Is it possible?
Very
Again,
much so.
all I'm trying to-
And if Joe Biden had done it, you'd be attacking him.
Sure. Is it possible that their conviction was part of the plea? It's like, oh shit, I can't get out of this, so I got to take a plea deal.
Some of them, maybe.
A lot of them, maybe?
Others we saw with our own lying eyes on tape, battering police officers.
I wanna eventually-
Did you watch live on January 6th? What happened?
To be completely honest, I'm pretty novice on this. I'm more trying to target. Just 1 second. If thinking this, there's a possibility.
I guess the argument here, so this is funny, is that so if you take a plea, you there's like a presumed admission of guilt, but you're probably not guilty. So then, I just think this is funny because this is how we have people in prison for crimes they didn't commit. In regards to, other, more like liberal, progressive offenses or whatever, things that we tolerate in California, apparently, the shoe's on the other foot, in this case. And they're trying to use the same argument that liberals use, when trying to combat like the injustice in the justice system, and yet applying it now to their case, right? It's literally the same argument.
That he might have had other reasons, for example, unifying the country, next chapter, right? That could be the reason. Therefore, it's not pro-crime. There was other reasons. I'm just saying that's a possibility. And if that's
I'm saying it's a possibility, but I'm saying it's irrelevant because if you're knowingly releasing violent criminals out into the community, pardoning, not just releasing, then yes, you are being pro-criminal. And I've interviewed police officers.
I don't know about that case,
I've interviewed police officers who have been assaulted, beaten, had to retire from the police office, broken bones.
Can I move really quick?
I'll finish very quickly. I've interviewed these police officers. They've been beaten by people who they've then seen walk off the streets and then carry on threatening them. Yes, when Donald Trump is responsible for that, you're definitely pro-crime.
Okay, I doubt a
All
lot
right,
of the sources.
pause.
But
And just to, I mean, I know we're kind of late in the game for this, but from everything I've gathered, this man is, I had my ignorance, notwithstanding this, Hassan is a legitimate journalist, so he's, all these things he's saying are probably, true.
You doubt police officers who testified to being assaulted?
You've
Wow.
been voted out by the majority. Please return to your seat.
Thanks. Hey, how's it going?
Good.
Nice to meet you, Mehdi.
So you claim that...
Wait. So it looks like that guy who was up earlier is trying to come back. Is he allowed to come back to the debate? Like it's just whoever gets there first, so you can come back on even if you get voted off? How does that work? Clockwork Rex, good to see you, buddy. Greetings, salutations.
The main claim is that Trump pardoned some people from January 6th. By the way, I was there. I saw it all firsthand. About a football field away. There's smoke in my eyes. Bloodied. It was a crazy day.
Were you convicted of any crimes?
No, of course not, because I didn't enter the building. Staying very peaceful. But your entire claim is that he
That's not
pardoned.
my entire claim.
Your bet's basically you keep bringing it up. All you do is bring it up.
Okay, I'll mention
Well,
some other
let me
people.
say this.
Are you okay with his pardoning of Paul Wolchak, who stole money from his employees?
You keep talking
or
about
9 former
pardoning.
members of Congress.
You
That's
keep
my
talking
claim.
about pardoning.
He keeps pardoning criminals. That makes him.
You know who else
pro-criminal.
pardoned a big criminal?
Go on.
Hunter Biden was pardoned by his
Yeah, I
father.
think
He
he should've
did
done
crack
that.
cocaine,
He should've done
and he
that.
had hookers there too.
I'm with you all.
But then why don't you claim that?
And he was like, he shouldn't have done that. So
Why don't you claim that
I think
Biden
Joe
was
Biden in that
pro-crime?
instance was pro-crime. He shouldn't have done it.
Well,
he
so
shouldn't
he
have
was
done it.
overall pro-crime
shouldn't have
just
done
because
it.
he did that
No,
one.
but Joe Biden didn't just. So if it was just the pardon, then you'd be fine. But I already mentioned there's also the fact that Joe Biden wasn't actually a convicted criminal in office. Trump has committed crimes. Trump hangs around with criminals. He spent much of the 80s hanging around with the New York mob. He hung around with Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell.
Well, that's
I can keep going.
Jeffrey Epstein lived in West Palm Beach, the area.
yeah, and numbers matter in this case. And of course, with Biden, it's his own kid. Of course, he's going to pardon him. With Trump, it's a bunch of total strangers who he incited to commit violent insurrection on the Capitol. But whatever.
That's the closest golf course you can go to.
Do you think,
and he's very
do you think
rich,
Donald Trump is in the Epstein
so he
files?
paid.
Do you think Donald Trump is in the
As
Epstein
soon
files?
as Trump found out,
Do you think
that
Donald Trump is in the Epstein files?
No, I do not. Here,
What, is Elon Musk lying?
Let me explain this. Okay. He lived in the area in Mar-a-Lago, near Mar-a-Lago. So he bought obviously a ticket to go in there.
Yep.
As soon as Trump found out that Epstein had done all those bad things, immediate ban
That's
from
not true,
Mar-a-Lago.
but okay.
Immediate ban
That's
from
not
Mar-a-Lago.
true.
Yes, it is.
That's not
yes,
true.
it is. 100%.
In fact, Ghislaine Maxwell recruited some of the girls that were abused from Mar-a-Lago.
So listen to this.
From Mar-a-Lago. That's pretty outrageous, right?
Elon Musk tweeted that out in a fit of rage. Okay. Do you really?
Sometimes
Do you
people tell
really
the truth
think?
when they're angry.
Do you really
the
think?
truth comes out when people are angry sometimes.
So Kash
we
Patel,
might see that today.
Kash Patel literally said that Elon Musk had no access to the Epstein files. So
Kash Patel said that Epstein killed himself. Do you agree with that?
Whatever he says goes. Then I don't care.
You do?
He knows more information than I do.
A lot of MAGA people are upset
He knows
with
more
Kash
information
Patel
than I do. But here's the actual claim.
Suddenly people are trying to vote you out because you said you agree with Kash Patel on Epstein.
He knows more
All
information
right,
than I do.
pause. That's time. Please return to your seat.
Good to meet you.
Yeah, take care.
Surrounded is now a podcast.
Maybe you
available
grant
wherever
that for
you listen.
the sake of argument. Okay, cool. All right, well, since they're doing an ad, chicken over here. Okay. 21 minutes into this. 5:24 p.m. on this beautiful Sunday. So, I guess at this point I will announce. What am I announcing? It was an announcement. Shit. And I didn't write it down either. All right, so there will be a memorial service, tentatively, I guess, scheduled for Anthony Loki Halford. That'll be at Bilko's Billiards, 1234 3rd Street, downtown Napa, California. Taking place on August 30th. And we'll be there. In other news, I've been doing some stuff, so I've been busy. Aside from all this other stuff going on, we went on a camping trip this week, which was cool. I've also been doing a lot of training, like educational stuff for my job, and I'm going to be getting into a field that I think, seems to be something that suits me, and this is applied behavioral analysis. And so I'm now, pretty deep into my training to become a RBT, that's a registered behavior tech. And basically I'll be able to work with people, with behavioral issues, with developmental issues. And it's kind of akin to what I do now in a way, but it's a bit different, might be a bit more clinical. It's definitely something that I think my skills naturally lean into. It's like observing behavior and then looking at what makes people tick, and essentially how to manipulate behavior. And in this sense, it's, hopefully for a positive outcome for the individual in question, right? The patient, this is a therapeutic treatment to try to increase what we don't use the term like good or bad, we say like more desirable or less desirable outcomes, right? So that's kind of stuff I've been, studying up on. And so it's taken up a bit of my time here. But it's interesting. I think it'll be useful, and maybe I can be able to be more service to other people. Clockwork Rex says I'm crazier than a shit house rat. Just asking for a friend. No. So I won't be like a clinical I'm not like a therapist. It's different than that. So you're considered like a technician. So you work under the supervision of an actual, therapist or psychologist or what have you. And then they kind of implement the treatments, and then you go down and do the treatments, with the patient, and kind of just tally the results for them. And then they read the results and see whether what you're doing is working or not. It's kind of that type of deal. But as I work my way through this, I can get more training, more experience, and more education, and then I could potentially become that psychologist or therapist who's actually planning the interventions and stuff like that. So yeah, you want me to what? What was I say? You want me to ban this chat? Don't ban anybody yet. If they start spouting crazy Christian garbage, then boot them. All right. Good to see you, Dr. Mordecai. So while we're on bad debates, so I've been waiting for this one for a minute. We'll just shift gears, a little palate cleanser here. This is Grace Thorpe.
High quality ingredients, no harmful pesticides. Stonyfield Organic, good on purpose.
My name is Cecilia. I'm a mom of 2 girls, a
Not two
psychologist,
ads. We can't
and I
do
choose
two
to
ads.
transform my people.
Get out of here.
Let's get started.
So as far as I understand, Grace Thorpe is defending premarital sex as a Catholic in this video, and I thought that was just fascinating. So this is my first react. So.
Right, good evening, everybody. Welcome to Modern Day Debate. Tonight we're going to be having a spicy debate about premarital sex. Is it wrong? We're going to start out with Emmett here. You have, I'll set it for 8, and I'll let you know when you hit that. And if you need more, we'll keep going. So go ahead there, Emmett, when you're ready.
Costing me, thanks Grace, for accepting the debate, and thanks to the audience for their time being here. Today we're going to talk about whether or not it's morally correct to perform sexual acts outside of marriage. And first of all, I will concede a bit of ground. This is a debate where the idea and the reality have to clash. And in order to go somewhere, unfortunately, the idea and the reality have to clash in order to go somewhere. And unfortunately, the reality we live on is not ideal. Nonetheless, we have to understand where we come from to correct course and not to stay en route to our own destruction as a society. The ethics I will draw from, which I believe Grace herself abides by, are unequivocally clear that any sexual act outside of marriage has to be considered a sin. Not only is it a sin, but it's also considered a special kind of sin because you are sinning against your own body. Now, that might seem cryptic. Why would that even matter? And even if it did, we are living in a modern society. We have different ideas of what value and dignity even are. Here's where Christianity comes forth and clarifies our minds. Sexuality is to be restricted to your marriage because in the case, for example, of Grace, only her husband is capable of actually dignifying the act, giving it purpose and the love that is needed in order to bring from it good fruits. Sexuality is actually an amazing thing that has lost a ton of its actual worth. Kids are now seen as nuisance. Mothers are being degraded as pretty much second-class citizens. The hierarchy under where we live is being corrupted by Pharisees and replaced by degenerate.
Are those fucking birds? Does somebody have birds? Like, am I hearing? I'm just going to go to normal speed for a minute.
And the root to all of that is directly tied to how we perverted sexuality in our.
What is the background noise? It's crazy. Okay.
Genealogy, you will find that most of your ancestors are women. Around 50% of men were genetically dead ends. Red pillars would call that hypergamy. That women are searching for the best men available. And that availability skyrockets when we destroy the idea of family. Feminists believe that family was a structure made to repress women, but in reality, it's a structure that honors them, that suppresses the natural inclination of men to exploit women for their own desires, and instead brings them into a household where they find meaning in the future, the children, and in the present, the spouse. It's a structure meant for the protection of the woman. She's going to be vulnerable, especially during childbearing years. Feminists in their crusade have destroyed this building block, and our society now is actually.
Yeah, that is about premarital sex, but he's talking about like patriarchy, right? What the fuck? It's a bird being raped? Jesus.
Paying the price. Less than 100 years ago, 7% of men were married at 40. It has skyrocketed now to more than 25%. So is this really living in modernity? Is this really progress? Christian ethics are what bring the good in society. What does it matter if we progress if we lose our path? The regression in our society is the destruction of the family. This misogynistic movement that has destroyed the greatest purpose. A woman.
What, dude? What is this dude on about? He's got all kind of like Christian ethics and what?
Which is actually motherhood, and instead degrades women and converts them into sexual objects whose gratification in the long run becomes broken homes and solitude. Thus, is it immoral?
So women only have value as child bearers. Yeah, standard Christian worldview. Long-winded way of saying that.
Does that mean that we can just flip a switch and take away all the degeneracy in which we live? No. But what we should do, especially as Christians, is to act in accordance with our beliefs. Encourage our kids to marry young, to bring forth children, and to enjoy the and love. Teach them that we are dignified, especially when it comes to sex, when we are married. And with that, I thank the moderator and thank Grace.
All right, we're going to hand it on over to you, Grace, to make your case. If you haven't already there, guys, we're Modern Day Debate. If you want to smash the like button, boost us up in the algorithm. We are live right now. Yes, I know the names aren't. Shout out there, Iron Horse. We're going to hand it over there to Grace for your opening. So thank you for being here back at Modern Day Debate. Long time no see.
Hi, Ryan. Hi, Emmett. Yes, I am out of debate retirement. It's been 3 years, but I'm ready to give another go.
It's funny because actually Carlin, the anti-commie streamer who I covered not so long ago, she did an episode covering Grace, and Grace has actually, not so long ago, she was like raging out, saying she was going to sue Destiny for defamation, and it's all this streamer bullshit on here, but she was like legitimately raging out. That was funny. And then all of a sudden they're like popping up in like Breakfast Tacos channel and shit like that. So I've been enjoying the shit show over there. The usual antics from the Thorpes. Chicken. He's talking about dick etiquette? What? Huh? Wash your junk. Yeah, okay. All right, yeah. I usually try to wash it pretty regularly,
Oh?
Yeah, no, the argument, yeah.
I'm a 22-year-old Catholic, and I mostly do IRL live streaming / drama, so I started out in debate, and I gave up on it, but I'm back for another try. So, my YouTube channel is Thorpe TV, THORP, and I also have a kick called Thorpe Tube.
Hashtag shameless plug.
I'd like to start my debate with making one thing extremely clear to Emmett and to the audience. I believe that both Emmett and I agree that the ideal life for those of us who are called to marriage would be to meet someone at your local church, to date in a limited way with adult chaperones, to never watch pornography, never masturbate, never have premarital sexual experiences, to marry committed and married for the rest of your lives.
Huh? Say what?
Keyword being ideal. But I'm not interested in fantasies. I'm not interested in LARPing. I'm interested in the reality of the situation that young Christian men and women like me and Emmett. This is in America. I don't know worldwide. This is just in America because I assume we both live in America. The average age of marriage is 28 for women, 30 for men. The average person gets exposed to pornography for the first time at 11 years old. 80 to 95% of men and 70 to 85% of women report masturbating regularly. The average age...
I think I got exposed to porn the first time I was like probably 8 years old, maybe. No, maybe a little younger actually. Maybe 7 or 8. Yeah. Show more cleavage. Oh, she do. Go watch her streams. And get some called to marriage. That's not my what? X-Scream? Dream. Oh, that's not my dream. Sorry. That's no fun. No. You gotta have fun in life, man. These guys, they don't want to have any fun. They are buzz killers. They are joy killers. I don't wash my junk too much. I don't think you can wash your junk too much as long as you're not chafing. You're good.
Or your first oral experience is 15 years old. The average age of your first sexual experience is 17 years old. 45% of marriages end in divorce, and 60% of people who get married between 20 and 25 years old get divorced. The reason I'm pointing out these statistics is because the question at hand is sexual morality. And when you're discussing morality, you have to discuss reality. In Catholic teaching, morality is the standard by which we judge whether
I'm gonna have to mute for a moment, but I'll leave this playing.
human actions are good or evil, based on reason, natural law, and divine revelation. Now, what a lot of people forget about in discussions of morality is the importance of prudence. Prudence is the first and guiding of the 4 cardinal virtues. And as the Catechism says, it is the virtue that disposes practical reason to discern our true good in every circumstance and to choose the right means of achieving it. I did not hear Emmett mention prudence, which I think is a mistake when you're talking about sexual morality. I think it's the key element here. And with those terms defined, I'm slightly modifying the debate topic from whether premarital sexual activity is moral to whether premarital sexual activity is prudent, but it is essentially the same thing because the prudent thing to do is always the moral thing to do. So, how do young Christians like myself and Emmett apply prudence to our sexual relationships in 2025? I'm not saying we live in an ideal society. Those stats I gave earlier are, they're bad. Like this, seeing porn for the first time, average 11 years old, is crazy. This didn't exist in our society for hundreds, thousands of years. Like this is a very new thing, but we can't ignore it. So I'm by no means defending our society's current take on sex. To me, for Christians, there are only really 2 options considering the culture. You can try to bypass modern dating by LARPing, by avoiding it entirely because you can't deal with it, or by getting married young, as Emmett suggested, and I thought he would. All of these have problems associated with them. Obviously, avoiding dating and marriage entirely is like a worrying trend. You know, inceldom is rising. It's kind of the despair of success in finding a mate. It's obviously not a Christian solution. Getting married extremely young, as I said, also the average person matures much slower than people used to. So when you talk about marriage, what's required for marriage, the ingredients necessary to a healthy marriage, like mutual support and sacrifice, I really don't think the idea of your average teenager getting married or even 20-year-old is a good idea and can have. So once you come to the conclusion that it's not reasonable to ask young Christians to do anything except try to engage in modern dating, right? That's the only option we have left. All of these LARPs and fantasies are not really going to work. I believe you're faced with the principle of the lesser of two evils. You may tolerate a lesser evil if there are four things. You do not intend the evil. There's no better option immediately available. Your action does not cause greater harm. And the greater evil is truly grave and imminent. How much time do I have left, Ryan? I did not time this.
Let's just double check here. Still 2.5. I'm just getting your name.
2.5. All right, speed run. All right, quick story. I know a really nice Christian girl who's 18 years old. She's been dating a guy since they were both 15. They've talked about getting married when they're about 21 years old. She's never touched him sexually since she considered it a sin, and they hang out regularly, both alone and with their friends or parents. She plans to be a virgin on their wedding night, but her boyfriend has a shameful little secret. He masturbates. They hang out, he gets sexually stimulated as is natural, and when he gets home, he pleasures himself to relieve the tension. His girlfriend considers this a sin, but is tolerant. She would never engage in this act with him because she would consider that to be him coercing her into sin. This would generally be considered a pretty great Christian relationship and is pretty much the prescription that modern Christians put on kids. Like, this would generally be considered pretty healthy, pretty chaste, pretty virtuous. But I think it's deeply, deeply sick. If you want to talk about grave and imminent harm, think about the hell that both of these people are about to go through if this marriage happens. The guy will have collected 6 years of pornography watching and self-pleasuring to deal with, for which he has been shamed and self-shamed. He is expected to go from treating his girlfriend like the Virgin Mary while abusing himself to treating her like a sexual partner and never touching himself again. In the meantime, she's supposedly supposed to suddenly trust, respect, and honor him as her leader and king. While for the past 6
I hate to say it, is Grace actually making good arguments here? Like, it sounds like she's actually kind of on point. Wow.
She's been looking better.
Yeah. Come on, leave your pants at the door. Yeah. Gonna smoke some more pot? I think I will too. This girl is a spotted stain on America. She's actually killing it. Like, this is like, no shit. Right now she's actually making a decent argument. I'm sorry.
him for indulging in sexual sin while thinking of herself as pure. This relationship is evil, and it is the greater evil. Engaging in premarital sexual activity, such as oral and manual pleasuring, is a far lesser evil than essentially blue-balling your Christian boyfriend for years in an attempt to avoid sexual sin. It is much less psychologically harmful. It is much more in harmony with a marital sexual relationship, which they're pursuing, which has the goals of bonding and procreation, and it is also much less misandrist. Male sexuality is not the problem, but modern Christian dating, the various prescriptions Christians give to it, always blame male sexuality. The penis is the problem here. I wish men didn't have penises until they got married. I wish they could just snap their fingers.
I'm fucking dead. That's great.
Then they have penises. That would be so much better. Okay, last 30 seconds. So I think Emmett here is going to propose one of two fantasies, a society that encourages and supports people getting married much younger. Good luck with that. That's a
men who don't grow their penises until marriage. That's epic right there.
Fantasy that doesn't exist, at least not in American society. Or he's also talked about having some kind of police force that forces people to stay in marriages and not get divorced, which has never existed and never will. And therefore, I would say Emmett is frankly not engaging in a discussion about morality, because morality has to do with reality. He's engaging in a discussion about fantasy. So, last sentence to wrap up. Engaging in premarital sexual activity is a far lesser evil than any other, and so therefore it is moral. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much.
Jesus. So this is like a 3-hour debate, and we're not actually going to get into it. But, congratulations. I just say I don't really see how you could defeat that argument, as ridiculous as certain aspects of it were. Yeah. So let's go back here. That was.
Are you looking to register your business using an address other than your home? Wouldn't it be great if you could?
What was happening before the 1500s?
There was indigenous people here that came here from.
I know, we weren't here. We were down here somewhere. Yeah.
Women being victimized.
making women and children be victimized as a result of that. I think things like blasphemy shouldn't be allowed.
Oh yeah, this guy. All right,
Because in regard,
he just
available wherever you listen. Search Surrounded, plug in, and stay part of the conversation.
This is where David Pakman was at, and this is one of the more popularly viewed ones. Is I think
anywhere, anytime.
It's very popular.
My next claim is that Donald Trump is defying the Constitution.
Okay, Donald Trump is defying the Constitution. All right, so that's right there. That's good. Yeah. Okay. Tequila makes her clothes fall off. Oh shit, my comments just disappeared. You can spell where the damn now? Well, it's all right. Nobody cares in YouTube chats anyway.
Nice to meet
pleasure
you.
to meet you, sir.
Mandy, lovely to meet you.
So I would say that
They figure out we figure out what you're saying, or somebody does. I don't know.
with Trump being anti-Constitution, I don't really care, to be quite frankly.
Okay.
Because in regards,
I don't really care, to be quite frankly. Well, that's not how you use those words. But also, if you don't care about the Constitution, why would you? So the argument is fuck the Constitution. Okay, got it. Yeah.
in regards to the Constitution is a document that should seek to serve us. And when it fails to seek to serve us, that can be amended. Laws can be changed. And quite frankly, the fact is, we're defending things in this country that shouldn't be defended. The First Amendment should not defend pornography and making children and women be victimized. Making women and children be victimized as a result of that. I think things like blasphemy shouldn't be allowed per the First Amendment. I think
blasphemy shouldn't be allowed per the First Amendment. So the First Amendment should censor certain types of speech, according to this person.
Quite frankly, there are a lot of legal processes that are enabling criminals and bad people to fully enact their will in this country in the name of the
Nobody has raised a flag yet. These people actually endorse or aren't fully comprehending what is going on. But I'd say that's pretty bad right there. Yeah, going to the open panel. Yeah, so this one was this is how we started out. So the 1v20 or whatever debate bullshit. Is this destroying society? Are we destroying society yet? If you unscrew your belly button, then your butt will fall off. I ought to try that sometime. Thanks, Dutch.
Constitution or following the Constitution. So, quite frankly, if Trump is anti-Constitution, good, and I think he should go further.
So this.
Hey, Will Freeman, good to see you. I think you should go further. See, so I'm conflicted because I think this man is a complete idiot, but I am also for the abolition and rethinking of the Constitution. So I have two directly conflicting views because I agree with him on this point, but I have completely different reasons, and I think he's an absolute moron.
It's wonderfully revealing of the modern conservative mindset, so I appreciate you spelling it out so openly. Just checking, do you support the Second Amendment?
I do.
Okay, surprise, I was shocked to hear that. I'm saying that Donald Trump is defying the First Amendment, the Fourth Amendment, the Fifth Amendment, the 14th Amendment. He's thinking of defying the 12th and 22nd Amendments. You're saying you don't care about the Constitution, but actually you do because you quite like the Second Amendment. You just don't like the bits that you disagree with. Can I just be clear on that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I'm more than willing to amend it and include
whenever
the
it's in your
Second
favor.
Amendment. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So can Democrats do the same when they're in office?
No, absolutely not. Because
So you don't
it's the
believe in
friend enemy.
democracy?
No, I don't. Absolutely not.
What do you believe in?
Autocracy.
By who?
Honestly, quite frankly, anyone who is in line with Catholic teaching.
Donald Trump is
Catholic autocracy. Is there? Okay, got it.
not Catholic.
Of course, he's not. I
So-
completely agree,
so
and
you
that's part of
support
the
Trump?
problem.
You don't support Trump?
No, I don't. I didn't even vote for him. I wrote in like John Pork or someone. I
Why
can't
did
even
you-
remember.
Why did you vote if you don't believe in democracy and you want autocracy?
Well, because quite frankly, I voted.
This is
I kind of
fascinating.
voted just to
I came with this
troll a
argument,
little
but
bit,
I'm bored of my own argument. I'm much more interested in this. So
yeah, absolutely.
I voted the first time I voted for Obama as president, but in I think it was the gubernatorial. Anyway, one of those elections, I actually wrote myself in as a protest vote. So it's like these guys suck. But it was I was like 18 years old or 19 years old or something, whatever it was, and who gives a shit?
get to an autocracy.
I think, quite frankly, that if we are able to enact...
Shout the monkey. Watch out, I like to lurk and play in shadows. Hey, go smoke more pot.
Local leaders...
Who is the we,
are-
by the way?
I think, quite frankly, these far-right conservatives sitting right around
White
me.
people?
Yeah,
No brown
absolutely.
people. So,
Well,
some of
actually,
you guys,
I have quite...
some of the
I'm
people.
actually having another cigarette right now. Yeah.
This one don't make the cut from what I can see
actually,
visually.
Actually,
Okay.
hold on for a moment. I
Just all I need, yeah.
do think that there are people who happen to not be white who do actually have history in this country and have roots in this country. For instance, from the Mexican American.
Holy shit. So this guy actually admits that the indigenous American peoples exist.
Where
Amazing.
we subsumed a lot of territory of people who have far stakes in this country who happen to be Hispanic or what have you. I'm for defending the traditional demographics of this country, which is majority white,
So
and
how-
should stay that
How
way.
does the United States...
Wait, what? How did he just... I need to
I
hear
think,
that again.
quite frankly, these far-right conservatives sitting right around
White
me.
people?
Yeah,
No
absolutely.
problem. So,
Well,
some
actually,
of you guys,
I have quite.
some of the people
I
in this
have
room
quite-
don't make the cut
no,
from what I can
actually,
see visually.
Actually,
Okay.
hold on for a moment. I do think that there are people who happen to not be white who do actually have history in this country and have roots in this
So there are people who happen to not be white who have history and roots in the country. Okay.
country. For instance, from the Mexican-American War, we subsumed a lot of territory of people who have far stakes in this country who happen to be Hispanic or what have you. I'm for defending
So we subsumed the territory from the people.
the traditional demographics of this country, which is majority white, and should stay that way.
So I'm for defending the traditional demographic of the country, which is majority white, since being you colonized, right? So he's like, okay, so since we just colonized those people, then we should just keep it that way because it's all good. Yeah.
The United States... I mean, we've gone so off topic, but how does the United States look like?
A couple people clap in there. They're like, yeah, we clap for colonialism.
Sorry, what's your name?
My name is, my name's Connor. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Took a little bit of a doubt there.
Oh, well,
Saying that.
I use
Connor-
a pseudonym online,
Fair enough.
but
Connor,
fair enough.
How would Connor's America look? What would it look like?
Well, quite frankly, I think we would deport people who shouldn't be here.
No, I didn't ask about
whether-
deporting. What does the government look like?
What's the government look like?
Yeah.
I would say, quite frankly, it's under a sort of benevolent leader such as
Where does he come
Franco.
from?
It could be a kind of aristocratic class. Could be someone
No, but
who
who picks the autocrat?
frankly, the people. I mean, we could hold a vote on it. Kings
So
were
isn't
paid-
that democracy?
Well, sure. You can have a vote to get to that.
he's like, well, use democracy to get to autocracy. Yeah, totally makes sense for me. Glitch in the Matrix? What the fuck just happened? Is it me? Is my stream fucked?
No more votes afterwards?
Absolutely.
Wow.
100%.
Wow. And if that autocrat kills you and your family, you're fine with that?
Well, I'm not going to be a part of the group that he kills because
How do
that's
you
the
know?
whole thing.
How do you know?
I guess I'll go check. Going on, are we good? Are we not good? Are we somewhere in the middle? Are we not good? Are we somewhere in the middle? What if we get a King Joffrey? Rich, you get a wrench. Ugh. There we go. That's how that works. Alright. Looks like we're doing okay here. I'd say time for another palate cleanser here.
Formidable ally. I was happy to see him doing so well in his
I was shut down for a minute. Maybe they copyrighted me. Hope not.
first days with us. $25 tier patron Moon Goon was staring somberly into his plate of fried chicken. What's the matter? They're attacking my throat. What's the matter? I asked. Not much of an appetite today?
After this morning, I actually sympathize because that was terrible. They were attacking my throat this morning. It was pretty bad.
I just can't stop thinking about poor Ozzy, he lamented sadly, referring to the famous musician Ozzy Osbourne, who was just murdered very recently. Why?
She is insane, and I think it's amazing. Oh my goodness. This will go down in history, I think. If you actually go back and look at the Gale lore, it is extensive and as wild as anything you can imagine. And I just can't get enough, really.
Did the Jesuits hate him so much? Well, I explained, this often happens to famous men who try to publicly express...
Wait, what happened? They asked my permission to let a few comments show, and as soon as they did, they shut you down. Oh, no. Somebody was trying to spam our chat with bad words? I did not see that. Yeah, if it asks permission, I guess just leave it alone. Yeah. Shit. That's, well, we'll see what happens.
Their love for Gail. Ozzy's
Because they're showing on screen through Prism, so I think that might be like a TOS thing for certain words.
last concert was dedicated to Gail as a tribute to her legacy, and he had been about to profess his lifelong love for her. But to get the head of his penis bitten off by a bat, then to bleed to death from ejaculating him from behind to his own song Crazy Train? Did he really deserve that just for...
Nothing gives you more
Let's
than
get serious
Domino's
here.
$6.99
Come on.
pizzas, especially
This is a
burgers.
serious
Wait,
show.
go back. Ah,
Not
that's
fucking
better.
around. Come
Discover
on.
your new Cadillac Optic for $403.
Not going to be.
I'm not just coping on a Sunday afternoon while doing my laundry. My emotions are in check. Believe me.
Part of the group that he kills,
How
because
do you
that's the
know?
whole thing.
How do you know?
Carl Schmitt
Autocrats tend to
Carl
kill
ma-
everyone,
Carl
even their own
Schmitt makes
supporters.
this point very well in his work. It's the friend-enemy distinction, right? You
Carl
liberals,
Schmitt, the
you-
Nazi theoretician.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't care.
Are you a fan of the Nazis?
I don't. I frankly don't care being called a Nazi at
I
all.
didn't say that. I
Doesn't
didn't
matter
actually
to
say
me.
that. I said, are you a fan of the Nazis?
Well, they persecuted the church a little bit. I'm not a fan of that. But
What about the
you know,
persecution of the Jews?
Well, I mean, I certainly don't support anyone's human dignity being assaulted. I'm a Catholic.
But
And
you
so-
don't condemn Nazi persecution of the Jews?
Human dignity being assaulted? Is that what we call that?
I think that there was a little bit of persecution
We
and stuff
may
like
have
that,
to
which is
rename
bad.
this show
but-
because you're a little bit more than a far-right Republican.
Hey, what can I say?
I think you could say, I'm a fascist.
Yeah, I am. Absolutely.
I'm just checking who's clapping just to get my set of where everyone
Because
is on this.
Clapping for fascism. Is this a joke? Wait, what were we talking about earlier? Was that? Oh yeah, that was the whole thing. Was that a joke? Was he joking about being a fascist, or was he being completely serious? Can you tell the difference? Does he know what that means? Does he embrace those ideas? The Grim Reaper murdered Ozzy? Clockwork Rex? Yeah, you haven't heard? Yes, the Grim Reaper did murder Ozzy. YT has a stick way up its ass lately. I agree. Yeah, I've had a few things deleted that, well, aside from G-Man's channel, that's just G-Man. Or maybe Jill. I mean, I don't know. I don't know who did it. I just know this. Anyway, they're fucking around here. Crazy, but that's how it goes. Well, I'm just coping, a little drunk, but it's all good. Aren't we all? 4 million little bits. Damn fascists. But seriously, do you think he's being facetious? I don't know. I mean, that's, clearly I think the way some people are interpreting this, but is it really? Or is he just okay with that? He did say he was for autocracy. He seems to think he knows what he's talking about. But there's some discrepancies and there's some holes in the cheese here.
You know that millions of people are going to be watching you on YouTube and checking out who the fascists and the Nazis are.
I'm not ashamed of that whatsoever.
No, clearly you're not.
During the
Clearly you're not.
I heard that this man actually lost his job after doing this debate. I remember where he worked there. He lost a position of, he was doing, and he filed a lawsuit over it. So that was, I think Friendly Atheist covered it. Maybe not 100 on that, but yeah, this guy filed a lawsuit over losing his job because of the shit he said on this debate.
During the pre-war period,
Yeah, his employer was like, "Nah, we're not down with that shit." Am I evil? Yes, I am.
after World War II, it was only those parties that properly enacted the people's will. That's why they won. The conservatives were fat cats. They were aristocrats. They didn't care.
Favor of killing people who aren't like you?
Quite frankly, I'm not. If
you mentioned Franco.
Who raped nuns and killed priests.
What about children who he killed and women who he killed?
What are you talking about? He never killed any women or children. He was Catholic.
He only killed combatants. Is that what you're claiming?
Yeah, he only killed combatants.
Never killed any.
The white.
Fact, over 150,000 people. He never killed anybody. What are you talking about?
Terror was only punishing.
He was a Catholic, bro.
Those people who did acts of terrorism. And again, are you supporting like raping innocent women? Nuns, dude. Killing priests? I mean, priests don't brandish guns and kill people.
You just refuse to condemn the Nazi Holocaust, my friend. I don't think you're in a position to ask anyone any questions.
I quite frankly don't care what you think about me. If I'm a Nazi and being a
feeling
Nazi
is mutual,
and being a Nazi means upholding human dignity, because I even believe in your dignity. I don't in a state that I was running. I wouldn't want to hurt you or anything like that. But quite frankly,
I don't debate fascists.
Okay. So do you concede then? I mean, why?
Do I concede you're a fascist who won't condemn the Nazis?
Yeah.
Yes, I concede that.
Okay, great.
See, Jordan Peterson with Danny, when he was just like, no, get the fuck out of here, and they just kicked him out. Like, I don't see why that's not happening here, but.
So I mean, what are we doing here?
Which I think Danny totally fucking wrecked him. You know, Danny Philtalk fucking wrecked Jordan Peterson entirely. He annihilated him on the spot. In that moment. So I thought that I banned the ape. You can't ban me from my own channel, bro. What are you talking about? That's lunacy. I'm half-assed paying attention to chat, my bad. Okay, what, is there still bad shit going on in chat? Don't make me ban you, whoever you are. I don't see anything else other than this. But if there is, yeah, just holy shit. This whole conversation is fucking crazy. Yeah, no, these people live among us. They are amongst us.
You just seem
know
offended.
what you're doing here.
You just seem offended, to be quite frankly. Like
I'm offended by people who can't condemn the Nazis. Yes, I am.
Okay. Well, I condemn the evils that they did, but I don't really care about being called a Nazi. Is the whole thing.
I never called you a Nazi.
I care
You
about
called
doing
yourself
the right
a Nazi,
thing.
a fascist, and a General Franco
Well,
supporter.
yeah, I am a General Franco.
And you don't believe in democracy.
I don't believe in democracy.
What are you doing here at a televised debate? This is democracy. Don't put a debate and disagreement.
Because it is the means to support an end. The reason we have free speech now is because we want to be openly talking about our opinions so we can get the state that we want. But it doesn't mean upholding free speech after we win. Again, I mentioned
the only good thing about this fascist
Wait. So it doesn't mean upholding free speech after you win. So once you get your way, then you silence the opposition. Of course, that's not. Wait.
The whole reason.
So he is. He's a fucking fascist.
You guys are so open about it.
The whole reason I mentioned.
The quiet part loud.
The
Keep saying
whole
it.
reason.
Among other things. Okay, they're flagging him now. This guy's fucking crazy, dude. Yeah. What do you do with him?
I mentioned Carl Schmitt earlier, and you kind of blew past him, is the friend-enemy distinction.
Past him because of the Nazi
even liberals, when they take power, they want to enact policies. And
No, this is literally like, it's 1984. It's like, freedom is slavery type of shit. It's like, yeah, once we take power, it's just everybody else can fuck off, whoever we are. And he said it at the beginning, wasn't he? Like, no, I acknowledge, there were indigenous people here, but we took their shit, and I think we have the right to it. That was his argument.
They want to enact protections for their people and their ideas, and they're willing to punish their enemy. And so I'm the same.
By his logic, if anybody were to ever overthrow the majority white population of the United States and call it something else, and subjugate those people, then they're entitled to do that. It's just their right, man.
Wait. I'm like, hey, if you're going to punish me, I'm going to get in power, and I'm going to frankly punish you when you try to leverage power against me. Just that simple.
I'm not sure what you want to say.
Hey, it is what it is.
All right. Pause. You've been voted out by the majority. Please return to your seat.
It's a pleasure to meet you, sir.
I can't say the same, but thank you.
Fucking whack, man. He makes my cock itch, yeah. Itch it, don't scratch it.
Good to meet you, Mehdi.
Good to meet you, sir. All right. So I kind of want to start at the basics or the foundation. I want to see.
Can I just check?
Yes.
Are you a fascist?
No.
Okay.
I don't. I describe myself as. I think just a Christian.
Fair enough.
I'm a devout Christian.
Good to hear.
So. I
Oh,
want
great. So now we get to hear from a Christian nationalist. This will be great. It'll be amazing. Getting a hard on for fascists doesn't turn me on.
Like, what is your connection to the Constitution, and why do you
I think he was referring to like venereal disease, but I'm
love
not
it so
sure.
much? Like, what makes it so important that Trump would defy something like the Constitution to you personally?
Great questions. My first connection is I'm an American citizen. I naturalized American citizen, took a pledge to this country, to the Constitution. As a previous speaker has said, Constitution's not perfect. A lot of things I don't like about it. I don't like the Second Amendment. There's various amendments. I don't like the way the Senate is set up. I'm sure there's things you don't
I
like.
like how they got the shot of that guy folding his arms and like tucking in right there. Oh, you don't like the Second Amendment? Fuck this guy. I'm gonna get him on the Second Amendment. If aliens ever show up, fuck us up, we deserve it. Yeah, it's like that meme where the aliens show up and it's like Christ on the cross and they're like, pack your shit, we're getting the fuck out of here. That dude can crawl up my asshole and croak.
About the Constitution. The difference is, I don't think you can just illegally defy the Constitution. I think each and every one of us can just make up whatever we want. Certainly presidents who are elected with an oath, right? Donald Trump took an oath to preserve, protect, defend the Constitution. And now when he's asked on television, isn't it your job to uphold the Constitution? He said on NBC, I don't know, which goes against his oath. And I'm identifying specific amendments where he is violating. He's only 6 months into his presidency.
Yeah, I didn't need the fact checker to confirm that one.
Defying the First Amendment, the Fourth Amendment, the Fifth Amendment, the 14th Amendment. He wants to defy the 22nd Amendment and be president for...
Which is funny because like he's literally saying, you know, he doesn't know what his job is. Like, yeah, that's actually what he said.
Third term.
Or whether or not that is in his job description, which it actually is.
This is the problem we have right now. Free speech is under assault. The free press is under assault. Due process is under assault.
Sir, man is a cookbook. What? Is this cannibalism now? What are we talking about?
The right to be in your home and not be invaded by federal agents, the Fourth Amendment, is under assault. So that, for me, is a problem.
Okay. Well, I'd like to start to say I really don't find the Constitution that important. I find it to be like a 300-year-old document. And it was created to defy the country that subjugated your ancestors in India. And then your parents probably moved from India to Britain. And then you move here to tell us that we should listen to a piece of paper that you were never even connected to begin with.
I don't know if India was subjugated so much as they were. I mean, well, in a way they were, I guess. But more like they were fairly powerful, but they were manipulated, I guess. Twilight Zone episode? Oh, yeah.
So,
I think we are living in the Twilight Zone. We have officially entered the Twilight Zone. I think that happened a while ago, and just most of us maybe, well, some of us were more aware than others, you know.
Say, like, if I don't care about it, why do you care about it so much?
How do you run a country without any kind of laws or due process? And by the way, you do care about it, because without the First Amendment, you...
On a side note, I read a few years ago about this theory. It was like a pop-up thing, that, you know, like pop science or whatever. And then, you know, of course, they were like, no, that's bullshit. But I always thought it was kind of like convenient that all of a sudden, like, oh, we've actually entered into another, you know, like our galaxy converged upon another galaxy or something like that. And, you know, like basically our dimensional reality has actually shifted. This is like 2015 or something like that. Yeah, something like that. And I think if you go look it up, you won't find anything about it because they totally put the kibosh on it. But I remember. Pepperidge Farms remembers.
Sitting here.
Well, I agree with the First Amendment, and I think.
So do you agree with Donald Trump's crackdown on the First Amendment? He's imprisoning people for their speech. He's threatening free speech media organizations. He's threatening peaceable assembly. These are all rights under the First Amendment. Why aren't you bothered by that as a conservative who claims to love the First Amendment?
So I don't like the First Amendment. I like free speech.
Okay,
so,
the First Amendment is what guarantees free speech. I'm from the UK, by the way. I'm from the UK, which is a democracy. We don't have the First Amendment. No, that's one of the things I do like about the Constitution. I wish the UK did have a First Amendment.
So people
I'm a
get
journalist.
arrested for praying outside abortion clinics and stuff like that, right?
So you're opposed to people being arrested for speech crimes, I assume.
Well, it depends what it is. If it's like the people...
so you're like one of the previous speakers. As long as there's someone who agrees with you, you don't mind the crackdown.
No, I support...
Either we consistently support principles or we don't.
I support free speech 100%.
Okay.
I don't think anyone...
So do you think Donald Trump is defying the Constitution by cracking down on the First Amendment?
So I think he's cracking down on free speech, like the deportation of Mahmoud Khalil, who was just
released from prison by a judge saying his First Amendment rights were violated.
And I agree with the judge, and I disagree with Trump deporting them. But I think that's more a matter of free speech and not the Constitution.
I think that's pedantry at this moment. I think you've conceded that he is cracking down on free speech, which is the First Amendment. So he is defying the Constitution. So it's a pleasure to be in agreement with you, sir.
All right, pause. You've been voted out by the majority. Please return to your seat.
Thank you very much. Hey, how's you, sir? I'm Mehdi.
Mehdi, great to meet you. My name is Kai. Do you, Mehdi, believe that the Constitution is important and good?
How far are we, dude? Is it 33 minutes into an hour and 40? Exhausting. Can you imagine that the cajones this guy's gonna have to sit in this chair this whole conversation? Something went sideways some time ago. I agree, Rex. Fast talkers are irritating to me. Well, I have the video sped up too, so that they are fast talkers. I want to get to the points. I want to get to the actual points because they use a lot of words to say, like a few things. And that's one of the tactics of debate. To try to make what you're saying sound fancier than it is when you actually are conveying a pretty simple concept most of the time. There are times when there's more complexities, but sometimes these guys just, get to the fucking point, My pet monkey ran away again. Stream down. Policy violation. Stream suspended. Damn it, Jim.
I want you to notice something here right off the back. When you do a Google search, I'm going to share my screen. I want you to notice what the translators noticed. Okay? You say this is Christian mainline teaching. Yeah, it is. It's been for decades.
Scheiße. Can you hear me now? Comment should be staying up there longer. Something's wrong.
No, I'm not too stupid to use GPS. I can't use GPS because I don't have internet to use GPS. I can't use GPS because I don't have internet.
Fucking bastards. Trying to copyright strike my shit. I don't have my disclaimer. This is for the purposes of commentary and shit. Obviously. They're not gonna. Worst thing they're gonna make me do is trim out a segment of the video, I think. Most of the time. Do you believe that? I hear they get uptight about shit. Just relax, man. It's the internet. You're not fucking immune to shit. I think so. This whole response to what this guy said, and I'm just reading the whole fucking thing. Where's I have another. Never mind what I have. Just forget about what I said before. I'm just looking for something right now. Anyway, the point of what I'm trying to say is that this JG guy. Had asked me a question. I actually kind of want to answer it, even though I'm not entirely certain it really requires an answer. But for some reason, I feel like, it's being called of me, or incumbent of me to actually speak to this. I can't find the file at this moment. Interested in what you think he did, referring to DD debunked the website, and I said systematically dismantling Darth's epistemological framework, and then JG says, really, what does his position entail in regards to epistemic criteria? Now, sir, I'm not sure if you're aware. If you are aware, what is this? No, I didn't move it. My pooter? I don't have one of those. What happened? Shit. Oh, I pressed the wrong button. That's what happened. So anyway, this is just good. I'm gonna explain it, but I don't think it's gonna happen tonight. I guess it's the short end of that stick. So yeah, thanks for that. Now I have to do a fucking philosophy video, which is fun. I haven't done a philosophy video in a while, so that's actually a genuine. I'm genuine in thanking you for that. Okay, so all right, shift change.
Software development at ASML is really cool because we're working on one of the most complex machines in the entire world.
Before our customers mass produce their chips, they need our software to help.
Thank you so much. Thanks for introduction there, Grace and Emmett. We're gonna get it into an open discussion. So grab your brews, everybody, and strap in. It's going to, or strap on. I don't know. It's going to be a wild one. All right. All right.
Yeah.
Hand it over
We're
to
gonna
you,
get people
Emmett.
in jail.
Let's do it.
Clever fellow.
Okay. Well, as we all heard, the evil man that wants to put every single woman and man in jail for leaving their marriage, and I don't have any problem with that, to be honest. But that's not the actual solution. Like, I would.
Wait, he doesn't have any problem with which one? Was it actually putting people in jail or being perceived as that? Techno beats and shit, glitch much. Ad blocker. Yeah, sorry about that.
In your story, there's this woman that is 18 and plans to get married at 21. Why at 21? Why
Yeah, I read that somewhere. My awesome life.
not at 18?
So this is your argument that people should just get married much younger, right?
No, I'm just asking you a question. The question is why not at 18?
Well, I think that they just don't think it's reasonable to get married that young. Really, nobody does in our culture.
Why not?
I'll think about it.
Do you think that the average 18-year-old has the maturity necessary to be in a committed lifelong marriage?
I do. I do think that people at 18 have been.
Have you ever been on TikTok? I mean, you're living in a fantasy world. That's not true.
I think the average 18-year-old has the capacity to get married and to stay married and to do all the things that married life entails.
I mean, maybe
The
in
only-
the
the reason-
1800s, but I think this is the problem with your argument is.
But you're
Wait,
saying
you
they,
wanna talk-
if you're saying they can, but you're not, should they? Like, just because you can doesn't mean you should. Yeah.
But what's right or wrong? You have to talk about what reality is, and the average
you
teenager
think-
is not in that position. They're just not.
Okay. The person at 1800s had more knowledge that they have now, or have less knowledge they have now.
Knowledge? You mean education?
Having a family, they have better opportunities. A normal person at 18 in the 1800s and a normal person at 18
I mean,
now.
I think you could argue for either society. Yeah, women have better education these days, but women back then,
I don't mean
stronger
women, I mean-
society that protected them, that encouraged courtship, that's chaperoned.
Define reality. Define definitively.
So
Yeah, I
You
know.
can argue for either one.
I agree. Like, as I said at the beginning, my opening statement is we're talking about the difference between an is and an ought. But you're presupposing
Exactly, you're presupposing the odd, sir. This guy.
that kids this day, well, what you will consider kids, I think they're adults, okay, a person at 18 is unable to just get married. And I'm wondering why. Why 21? What if
No, you are able to get married. You're not saying that you're not able to get married. You're saying that you can, but should you? Why? Why should
the difference between a 21-year-old and an 18-year-old
I wouldn't even
in our
argue
society?
that 21. I wouldn't even argue that 20.
Brain development. So I think the study has actually shown the brain isn't fully developed till you're like 25, but yet we're allowing people to make life-altering decisions at 16 and 18 and 21, right? So it's like phases of development. Peggers. Infinity is a black hole. They exist. Yeah. We were watching the Good Place earlier. We got into season 3, and me and the missus, and what was it? They go to some, or they're going to some place. It's called the it's the IHOP, but it's the interdimensional whole of pancakes or something like that. So I thought that was kind of an interesting innuendo going on there.
One is a good age. You can look at the statistics. 60% of people who get married between the
Yes.
ages of 20 and 25 get divorced. So obviously, this is not the solution.
I agree that I agree with you that the reality that we're looking at right now is less than ideal. But this is
Right, so-
because
so you're- Well, I think 18-year-olds should just get married. They're ready for it.
think
They are
should get
not.
married. I think they are. I think
You
they
asked
are.
me- you asked
I
me-
think they lie. I think the
think they
lie that
lie?
we've been told. No, I think the lie that we've been told to is that we can just go ahead and live in our society without any kind of responsibility, and that will make us better because we can just postpone responsibility, and that isn't working. Instead of telling kids, "Hey,
the Christian solution to social sin is not to enforce.
So wait. Is he talking about, what is he talking about? When he's talking about responsibility, he's talking about the responsibility of having sex. Well, he means having sex responsibly. That would entail maybe using birth control or something like that, which would be counter to the Catholic position that says you shouldn't use birth control and you should not have sex. But if you are having sex, then you ought to use birth control. But he would disagree with that. He would just say, no, don't do it, which is completely counterproductive because we know that people are doing it even when they're told not to do it. Even when they're told that they'll go to hell if they do it, they still do it. So, not working. Yeah.
Responsibility on the individual. For example, factory farming is not respectful of animals, and yet we as Christians are not prevented from buying a package of ground beef,
No,
right? Because it's a social sin, it's a cultural sin.
I'm Batman in another reality. Yeah. Trust me, I'm a lot of different people in alternate realities for sure. Are Catholics Christians? I guess that's a matter of debate. I mean, I always thought they kind of were, but apparently in some ways they're kind of not. But they technically are. But I don't know. Yeah, I'm not really. I have no skin in that game. I really don't give a shit. I think they're all lunatics personally, but.
We are not responsible individually for factory farming, yet it is disrespectful to animals. That's definitely true. Like, it doesn't honor animals.
We don't honor animals.
I mean, okay, so caveat, they're lovable lunatics in some cases, they're crazy people living amongst us, and I'm a little bit crazy myself, I'm just saying the belief in the Sky Daddy claim is, sometimes a little bit out of whack. I mean, depending on what you think about, interdimensional beings or something like that, maybe you'd have some kind of argument, but I just don't have any evidence or reason to believe in magic, so that's where I'm at with that one.
Same way we honor man and woman.
So
We
my
don't
point,
put the
my point
animals in
is,
the
if
same
you're
way.
if you're saying society needs to change, that may very well be true, but you can't put the onus of that on individual young people dealing with
Yes.
their sexuality. That's not
No,
fair.
we
That's not
have
our
to.
problem. No.
That's what we should do. What we should do is tell people, hey, you know what? You are 18, you're an adult, and you have these duties that you have to fulfill. And this includes, getting married, having an amazing family.
Well, hang on a second.
Do all of that.
First of all, I just want to address your point. You were saying, what makes the 18-year-olds from the 1800s different? They were given far more responsibilities at a far younger age.
Yeah.
Nowadays, people.
And when I say evidence, I mean like more like plausibility. Like, is it like more or less realistic than magic, which is obviously like the least realistic thing would be magic, and then the next possible but probably not thing would be like aliens or something. Like we can just entertain all those thoughts and like one by one be like, okay, but I don't have any actual evidence for any of this. But if I'm entertaining a conversation, like, how likely is it that this is the case? I mean, that's the way I think about it. It's like a lot of crazy coincidences happen in the universe, but I mean, I think like the complexity of all of the different interwoven moving parts kind of explains that. Say, well, yeah, of course, like random occurrences are going to happen in a chaotic system, and then keeps moving, and So you just can't really account for all of those variables. And so if random shit happens to you, that just means that you're living in a universe that's basically described by the scientific model of reality. And the naturalistic view. I'm a naturalist. It's natural. Reminds me of that blonde joke from back in the day. My Awesome Life. Biting my fucking tongue. It's okay. No. There's a blonde joke back in the day. And it was like what was it? Like a brunette walks out of the salon, and there's some lady outside. She says, "Oh my God, how do you get this beautiful brunette color?" She runs her fingers through her hair. She says, "It's natural." And the redhead walks out. She says, "Oh wow, your color's really amazing. How did you get that way?" She runs her fingers through her hair. She says, "It's natural." And the blonde walks out. And then the lady asks her, "How did you get those, nice blonde highlights in your hair?" And the girl scrubs a bunch of boogers off her nose and pulls them through her hair. And she goes, "Oh, it's natural." Something like that. I think I fucked up the joke, but it's okay. I have this book. It's by this guy Dan Green. It's called Logic and Morals. I purchased this off of Amazon. It was pretty cheap, and I like it. I just wanted to read this one part. It's in P3. To optimally interact with humans, one must behave in ways that enhance the existence of others. Since humans require each other, it follows that we should ensure that others exist for as long as possible in order to enhance our own survival. We must do this in a way that is positive for them as we can understand and determine. Our interactions must be something of benefit to them for our own sake. This is self-centered in one sense, because you are trying to ensure your own survival, although there is no guarantee that enhancing other humans will yield the result you desire. It should be clear that not doing so would produce an unstable environment. Rex says, chaos to the fly is normal for the spider. Yeah. It's all about, what conditions, life thrives in. And it doesn't mean it's going to be what we think is the optimal condition. And tomorrow we might not be the dominant species. We just don't have any way of knowing.
Go to high school, then go to college, which is like extended high school. They're really not asked to do much of anything until they're 23, 24. They have different responsibilities. It's a different thing. I'm not going to say that I, a 22-year-old in 2025, have no responsibilities, but people generally.
Yes, it is a reality.
So you can't just enforce what you think.
Not a we thing. Got it? I don't know what that means. I'm confused.
I'm not done.
Okay, go ahead.
Not done.
Sorry.
The reality.
Out of what? Oh no. Did she leave?
Yes. The reality is that we live in a less than perfect society.
I don't know what's going on there.
And we live in that
I'm confused.
reality because we've been turning away more and more from Christian ethics. And instead, the solution to that is not to deny, hey, you know what? You can actually do all of these things that we've been telling you can't do it. And this is what's going to bring meaning to your life. Do you think...
So this is a poem I wrote on the first of this month. It's a short one. Like a haiku or whatever. Is that what they call it? It says, these people, they lose themselves. They become lost in their fears and their emotions and their egos, as do I.
To the problem is to say that You cannot. I made a strong argument. I said in order for it to be moral, it has to be prudent, which means the reasonable application in the given context, right? So
Yeah, you think it's not
you're
prudent
telling
for
me
people to
I
get
so
married
what
young.
you have to do is you have to give me another option other than some limited premarital sexual activity, which I think is the healthiest option, the lesser of two evils, and therefore the moral option. Because you would hold on a second. You
My
would
other
agree with
option is
me-
getting married.
The other option is to get married young. Okay, so you're just going to go with that.
I want to jump in because
Yeah.
it seems like we're just kind of going around this one. I want to give Emmett the floor here just to quickly explain for the audience, what would be your idea to entice these 18-year-old men to want to, get married at such a young age?
Oh boy! All right. We're gonna quickly entertain this one, but I'm gonna go through it at 2x speed. So.
Well,
I
think there's a big difference between men and women, and there's an ontological difference. And men tend to be able to delay that a little bit longer. They need to be able to get themselves into the world, get a little bit of money, make something of themselves. This is why, a little bit.
So men need to be providers. They need to be stabilized in the workforce to reinforce the capitalist system before they get married. So they have a little bit of leeway there, whereas women should probably just go with the most stable provider available to them at the time to get married as quickly as possible. Just to be clear here.
Gap in the relation, like in the age of the relationship is usually seen as good. But I just
Wait, are you talking about 18-year-old men? I'm just clarifying.
Yeah, I think that 18-year-old men, because we're making money with that, right? We think that just men should get married. I'm saying, hey, men should get married whenever possible, and they should be able to enjoy their sexuality with their significant other and make a family out of it. I think that they can even do it when they're 20, but they should be married. Women should be married young.
But women should marry earlier? Is that what you're
No, I
saying? I'm
think
just clarifying.
in the ideal society, in the ideal part, people will get married young.
No,
together,
we're
they
not
will
talking
make
about
some-
ideal society.
Yes,
We're talking
I know.
about society now.
I understand that. Right?
I frankly don't care what would happen in your ideal society. I feel like we agree on a lot of that. You're Eastern Orthodox, I'm Catholic. We probably would agree, as I said in my opening, on like 99% of that. So you gotta talk about reality.
In
What
reality,
we do now.
What we do now, we encourage people to marry young. We encourage them to get married young. I don't see any problem. I don't understand what
I can
the
see. Would you like me to
I don't
elaborate
see
what the problems are with
I
getting
do not
married
see
young?
the ontological difference, except what they've been told between 1800s and now. You're gonna be like, well, they don't have much responsibility. You know what would change that? Giving them responsibility.
Do you want to know the problems with younger marriage? With
I think in the 1800s, you had more like very young women, like pubescent women and shit, like getting married off to like very, much older men, and for money. Yeah, there's like a dowry and all that shit, right?
married young?
Okay, give me a problem with young
Okay,
marriage.
first of all, you really want to sign men up to get married at 18? Do you know how brutal
Yes, by the
divorce is?
church.
Do you know how brutal divorce is? Do you know how much it can ruin a man's life? You want to set him up for an almost guaranteed divorce at 18 years old?
Guaranteed?
That's
Why-
insane. That's
why are
insane.
they guaranteed?
Secondly, it is very unhealthy.
Why are they guaranteed?
It's very unhealthy to just say, just get married and you'll grow up through the process. That's not what marriage is about. You're supposed to be mature enough to make those vows at the time. Not, hey, just do this so that you can have sex and then you'll eventually become like really married.
A lot of people.
Let me
get
tell
it
you,
because they
marriage is
want
not
to
the solution to being horny. It's not the solution. It's not the end all
What is
be
the
all
solution to being horny? Just use women? Is that your solution?
No, but I'm just
Your
saying
solution is to go ahead
the
and
fact that men are horny, the fact that men are horny when they're teenagers doesn't mean they should get married. That's very unhealthy
Yeah,
to say.
your solution to it, since marriage is not a solution, is to just go ahead and allow them to either abuse other women, right? Is that your solution?
I would not say it's abuse. What I
You
said
don't
was
think it's
limited
abuse?
premarital sexual activity with someone who you're
think
interested in.
You think it makes like the person that is doing it is not? If it's a sin and it's against your own flesh, it's like it's pretty
It's
much
not-
abuse. You even
It's
said
not
it
a sin.
yourself.
It's not a sin
self-abuse.
because it is the lesser. It's the best option possible. The best option.
is a-
That happened for 10,000 million years. Yeah, it's
See,
a long fucking
cannot
time.
you're saying the
be a
lesser of two evils. We're talking about two evils. They're both sins.
That's correct. No, that's
No, we're
not
talking about
true. That's
sin.
not.
When you really think about it, and you think about like the whole of human history and like isolated tribes and people who were doing it probably for thousands, hundreds of thousands of years, there was a lot of fucked up shit going on. Like we had to do like a lot of really, really bad shit to even like establish morality and be like, oh no, you can't do this. Because people still do some of that stuff, right? Like, but they used to do it with impunity because there was no legal system. And so think about what everybody did before there was no like actual social order, and you kind of imagine what like true anarchy amongst humans is like, and it's got to be pretty brutal, right? Like, so imagine what those people endured. Unfortunately, I can't have people join on Prism. I could open up a StreamYard live. Hey, Pixie, good to see you. Hey, much love. Yeah, let me let's see where we at. Oh, that's not the button. We do this, and I'll open up a StreamYard stream here. Yes.
No.
I can
You're
see
gonna,
here,
you're
or I
gonna
can
say
see
that,
there.
you're gonna argue against the principle of lesser of two evils. If your plane crashes into a mountain and you have to eat someone to stay alive, that's cannibalism. That's a sin, right? No, it's not a sin if you eat someone to stay alive. That's not a sin.
What you
It's the
do
lesser
is
of two
repent.
evils. It's,
There are
it's less
ways.
evil than starving. So it is the moral
There
thing
are
to do.
there are ways.
Wait, can you admit that that
Church-
principle exists and you agree with it?
Yes, I agree with it. There are
Okay,
reasons
so,
why
so
we
it's
have a
not a
hierarchy.
sin. It's not a sin if you follow
a
the
sin.
lesser of two evils. No,
No,
it's
no,
not.
no. You are still.
If your plane crashes into a mountain and you have to eat someone, even though cannibalism is right.
I would go
That's the
ahead and
moral
say
thing
that
to
that
do.
person needs to repent.
You would
Okay.
say that somebody
I
has
would-
to
I would-
repent for feeding their kids another human body when that's all there is to eat if they crash into a
Yes,
mountain?
they would have to go ahead, realize that it was something wrong, that they had to do it to survive, and they would have to repent.
It's not
and they
wrong
would
if
go
you
through a
have to do it to
process
survive.
of
It is not a
internalizing
sin.
what they
Mm-mm.
did.
No, it
Yeah.
is not. You don't understand sin, my friend. You do not understand it. It's
don't
not a
understand
sin if it's the best option at the time.
You do
It's not a
understand sin, though.
So
Your-
would
your
you
idea
would you
of sin
say
is
would you
you
say it
can
would
do
be better?
anything you
No,
want,
let's
as long
stay
as
let's
it's
stay in
the
this
lesser
let's
of
stay
two
in this
evils, right?
hypothetical.
Because you can just
Let's stay
frame
in this
everything that way.
hypothetical.
You can frame
Let's stay in
everything
this
that well. Do
hypothetical.
you understand that?
No, we have to agree on the principle.
Out, and I'm going to go create a StreamYard stream, and I will put that up. Give me like 5 minutes. All right. Much love. Be well to all the later viewers or past, present, future people, and stay trusty.